A pleasant good morning to everyone. I'd like to recognize the presence of our minister, our PS, our farmers representative, and all the other specially invited guests, our area coordinators, supervisors, enumerators, farmers. Welcome to everyone. Now, conducting an agriculture census is not new to Grenada. We have had 5 previous censuses, and they were conducted in the years 1961, 1975, 1981, 1995, and most recently 2012. That means we are now conducting our 6th agriculture census. This year, our agriculture census is being conducted in collaboration with the Central Statistical Office, or CSO as we refer to them, and they are the ones who are providing the tablets and the IT expertise and support. Someone may ask, why do you need an agriculture census? Is it important? What benefit is there to Grenada in spending all this money for information that may or may not be used? Well, let me share with you some of the objectives and benefits of the Agriculture Census 2023. 1. From the data gathered, the ministry will be able to measure the actual structure of the agriculture sector, such as the number of small, medium, and large farmers, any shift in land tenure, meaning that if farmers are now owning more of their land, or if they're still renting or using family land, if the number of livestock farmers have increased or decreased, and what is the use of the agriculture land, whether more acres are being abandoned or being put to productive use. 2. The various departments in the ministry, like land use, extension, and agronomy, would now have an updated and adequate frame through which they will be able to carry out much needed periodic surveys that would measure some of the changes that can occur, like the different crops that farmers plant, especially for temporary crops. And using this information, those departments and other regional and international partners would be in a better position to develop and implement programs and projects that will be geared towards solving issues and problems that our farmers have identified through the census. 3. The Ministry of Agriculture will have the ability to provide timely and accurate information and data to our national statistical system. 4. The information gathered will be comparable to the information that was gathered in 2012. Since the questionnaire we're using is basically the same, and we'll have a very good comparison. Although some changes were made between 2012 and 2023, we will still be able to do some level of comparison with what occurred in 1995. And 5, the Ministry of Agriculture and Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique on a whole will be able to fulfill some of the reporting obligations to international bodies, such as the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and some of the indicators under the SDGs. As farmers, the information from the agriculture census will help you to see where you fit in the sector. It will help you construct a plan and make better economic decisions that can enhance or increase your production. As a farmers organization, you are better able to lobby for policies and programs and measures that will improve the livelihood of your members and benefit the farming community. Now, I know that many times when persons hear the word census, what is the first thing that comes to their mind? Nobody? Tax. Yes, that's the first thing that comes to their mind. Now, please be assured that the information gathered during the census would not be used for imposing any taxes. As a matter of fact, the Statistical Act prevents the ministry from sharing personal data or information with anyone outside of the ministry. And even within the ministry, we have to be careful how we share that information. And as I said, the information within the ministry will be used for planning, project development, reporting, and the basis for a frame for further surveys. So have no fear, tax is not around. Now let's take a quick look at some of the information that is covered under the census. And PS alluded or mentioned a few of them. We have crop and livestock, land tenure and land use, agricultural employment and farm economy, characteristics of the agriculture holding, the contribution of men and women to agricultural production, fertilizer, agrochemical and pesticide usage, farm machinery and equipment, marketing, production issues, and there are a few more. Now, the structure of the census or the hierarchy is just a simple one. We have the ministry as the head, the Census Steering Committee, which is chaired by our Permanent Secretary, Mr. Aaron Francois, and then the IT office, which comprises of myself, an assistant, and the IT support that we have from the Central Statistical Office. Then we have 7 area coordinators, 30 supervisors, and 162 enumerators, making it a total of just over 200 persons. Now you may ask, how are we going to accomplish this job? The census will be accomplished through complete enumeration of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique using tablets. So this means that with the updated maps we have now, we have what we call building points. I'll show you in just a little while, where it will indicate to the enumerators where they have to go. So they'll go to this building and they'll ask a few questions to determine whether or not any agricultural activity is being done in that building, whether by a person or entity, and if there is, how much, and that will determine whether or not you qualify as a farmer under this census. So with that just said, you would want to know who would be qualified as a farmer. And so I will tell you the criteria that we have now. Don't laugh. Don't get concerned. Don't get frightened. It's very simple. And although you may say, well, almost everybody in Grenada could qualify, yes, but still we're relying on the farmers to be truthful. Okay, because I know farmers stand up pressures, and sometimes when they hear this, they say, oh, I have all this and it will take so long, I don't have time. I will address that in a little while. So back to the criteria. Now, if you have 1 or more cattle, 5 sheep, goat, pigs, or a combination of them, so that means you can have 5 or more of any one singular, or you may have 2 pigs, 2 sheep, and 1 goat. That's 5. You're a farmer for the census. Also, if you have a female sheep, goat, or pig that you use for breeding, you're qualified. 25 or more poultry, 25 or more permanent trees, 1/4 of an acre of temporary crops, and if your income from the farm is more than 2,500 for the year. You may say that is small, but at a recent training which I conducted, persons were indicating that as farmers, they made less than that for the year, simply because of the weather conditions. Okay, so even though it may look small, it's a very important number. So someone may ask, how long does an interview take? My answer would be, it depends on the depth or the extent of the agricultural enterprise that the farmer is engaged in. How many parcels he operates or pieces of land that he operates, the quantity of crops grown, especially the temporary crops like our vegetables and root crops, and if the farmer also rears livestock. Now on average, an interview can take between 30 to 45 minutes. It could be more or could be less depending on what the farmer has, or how long the farmer keeps the enumerator in conversation. That's another thing. So if for some reason as a farmer you're unable to continue the interview, have no fear. The enumerators can either come back to you at a more convenient time, or they can continue the interview over the telephone. So have no fear, your information will be collected. And also farmers, bear in mind that we have supervisors who will be supervising our enumerators. So you may just be one of the farmers that the supervisor selects to visit. They're not doing a complete enumeration again. The supervisor is just checking to see that the information the enumerator collected, first of all, that the enumerator actually visited you, 1, and 2, that the information they collected, they recorded it accurately. Okay? So have no fear, it's not a complete enumeration, they're just verifying and double checking. Therefore, my appeal to the general public, especially our farmers and entities like schools, elderly homes, guest house, etc., who engage in farming, whether it's on a small or large scale, is to please cooperate with enumerators when they visit you. We are kindly asking and soliciting your cooperation and honesty when answering the questions. Giving wrong or bad information can jeopardize the quality and integrity of the data. This in turn can result in misguided interventions and programs being developed and implemented, which at the end of the day is of little or no benefit to anyone, simply because the information on which it was built was inaccurate. We are therefore appealing for accurate information, especially as the time period for the census is short And it is short, we're at November, and we're expecting to come out of the field by the 28th of February 2024. And at this juncture, although I am not the one to give the vote of thanks, I would like to publicly acknowledge my thanks and appreciation to two persons especially, without who we would not be able to be at this point to actually conduct the agriculture census. Firstly, to Mr. Kenton Fletcher, our GIS IT person at the Ministry of Agriculture. When I told him that we needed the maps, he had a series of training sessions going on. And every time he said, Miss Mapp, don't worry, I'm working on it. I tried not to bother him too much because I know, but I also knew the importance of getting it because we needed it for this. And he came through for us despite his challenges. He came through the maps. And Mr. Fletcher, I was told that the maps are top quality, and so we're very happy. Also to the hardworking staff of the Central Statistics IT Department, especially Mr. Paul, who I know worked tirelessly. Sometimes all 11 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, he would message me, Miss Mapp, Miss Mapp, And I want to tell you publicly that I really appreciate your dedication and commitment. I know the journey has been very hard for you, as I said, with sleepless nights, and having the experience where once one section is working properly, another thing will pop up, and when you fix that one, the one that you fixed previously, some issue again will pop up, and it's just a back and forth. So I thank you very much for sticking to it and not giving up. And then I would like to thank all those who have supported and worked in one way or another to help us to reach this point. And I appeal to our field team, do your best, don't get discouraged, press on, and at the end of February 2024, we will be able to say that Grenada has successfully conducted the Agriculture Census 2023.